The new construction home process consists of several milestones that help you stay on track during the building process. Today, I want to give you an inside look at a major point that you will reach when you make the decision to buy a new construction home. Join me as we step inside a hidden phase of the home building process that most buyers never really see. In this video, I will walk you through a home site that I'm currently under contract with for one of my clients and show you everything you should know about a pre-drywall walkthrough. Watch until the end if you would like to know my personal tips and an effective strategy on how to go through this walkthrough. First, let's cover what you're already curious about. What's the purpose of a pre-drywall walkthrough? A pre-drywall walkthrough is an important factor when you're building a new construction home, and this usually takes place after the framing is complete, but before the drywall is installed. Now, this walkthrough usually happens after major systems are installed, including your electrical, your plumbing, as well as your HVAC. Now, the primary goal of a pre-drywall walkthrough is to make sure that all the internal components of your home are done correctly. This is going to be your last opportunity as the homeowner to ensure that everything that you have in your design plans are accurate on what you see. Now, during this stage, any issues, upgrades, or adjustments can be addressed, and it can help prevent you spending costly money later down the road. This is definitely your opportunity to gain peace of mind to make sure that what you are ordering when you build your new construction home is exactly what you're getting. Right now, we're inside one of my clients' new construction homes here in the Southwest that's going to be 5 minutes away from the brand new Durango Casino. This home is scheduled to be completed later this year in November, and the construction process has been moving incredibly fast. Now, before we continue, I want to talk to you a little bit about my client and their home that they're purchasing. So one of the major things that they wanted when they were deciding on where they wanted to build this new construction home is convenience, because their family lives in the Southwest and they wanted to be really close to the Durango Casino. So right now, the home that they're building is literally 5 minutes away from Durango, as well as 10 minutes away from their family, so it made perfect sense for them. Now, mind you, this client of mine does not live in Las Vegas, and they're actually in California, and they're not relocating here. They're actually buying this home for their son, who's gonna go to college this fall, and then he's gonna live in this home as well. Something that I think is important to know is that you can still buy a new construction home even if you don't live in Vegas and you can't keep track of the updates physically in person. That's why you hire someone like myself who can go through the process with you and be available and be present when you can't be. So let's take a look at this home and talk more about the pre-drywall process and the stage of this home and where it's currently at. You might be curious about who attends a pre-drywall inspection. Well, the truth is several people attend the pre-drywall inspection, but each person who's gonna be there has a different responsibility as well as a role. So let's cover exactly who attends this meeting as well as what their roles or responsibilities are gonna be. An additional person that you can bring to these pre-drywall inspections is gonna be a third-party home inspector. Now, they are optional, but I do recommend bringing one because they give you the opportunity to quality check the builder and making sure that everything that they're doing is up to code and standards. I currently have a client over in Sky Canyon who is building a new home, and they hired a third-party home inspector to check out the home before the drywall went up, and we found 23 items that were incorrect and needed to be addressed before the drywall went up. This was a huge win for us because it gave us the opportunity to make sure that the home was done to quality standards as well as code. Now, I know sometimes this can be an additional amount of money that you have to come out of pocket, but it's totally worth it when you're building your dream home. Now that you've seen everyone who has a role in these pre-drywall meetings, you see the importance of them and why they are critical in the home building process. This gives you an opportunity to really make sure that everything in your home works and is built to standard quality, as well as making sure that you don't have any issues before the walls are covered up with drywall. Whether you're new to my channel or you've been here for a while, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Chris Brown and I'm a real estate advisor with Simply Vegas. Here on my channel, I'll help you find your new home, whether you're a local or relocating from somewhere else. I would appreciate it if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so you don't miss any of the good, the bad, the ugly about living in Las Vegas. If you happen to be watching on a TV, scan the QR code on the screen. And if you would like to reach out with me directly, you can always use my contact information linked in the description below. Now, when you have a pre-drywall inspection, there's gonna be critical items as well as details that you need to make sure that you're paying attention to. Let's go over in detail what those items are that are being inspected and what they're looking for when they go through this inspection. The first item that's gonna be inspected is gonna be the electrical system. They're gonna be inspecting the location of the electrical, the wiring, the outlets, as well as the switches and light fixtures. What they'll be looking for is ensuring that the wiring is properly secured and routed neatly through the studs. And as we go through this home right now for my client, you can see all of these blue boxes that are on the studs, as well as having the electrical wiring running throughout the home. So this is something that gets inspected during that pre-drywall walkthrough. The next item that will be inspected is going to be the plumbing. They'll be looking at the installation of the pipes for water supply, drains, vents, and any other gas lines. What they're looking for is to make sure that everything is securely fastened to the studs and properly routed. They'll also be trying to confirm that the water supply lines and drain pipes are correctly placed for sinks, showers, toilets, and appliances. The next thing that's going to be inspected is going to be this silver tubing here in the ceiling, which is going to be your HVAC. What they're looking for is to make sure that the installation of the ductwork, vents, furnace, and air conditioning systems were all installed properly. Lastly, they're going to inspect the structural integrity of their home. They're going to make sure that your framing as well as your foundation support is properly done so that there isn't any structural foundational issues with the home. They're also going to check your gas lines, your fire sprinklers, as well as your windows and doors to make sure all of those items work properly. Let's talk about why the pre-drywall walkthrough is so important in this process. The reason why this walkthrough is so important is because everything that you see in this home is about to be covered up with drywall, and you won't have the opportunity to inspect all of these items again. This walkthrough is going to help you prevent future items having issues, as well as give you peace of mind throughout the building process. Now, I know your next major question is going to be, Chris, what happens if I don't have a pre-drywall inspection? What will happen next? And the answer to that is a lot of things can happen. If you don't have a pre-drywall inspection, you could potentially have issues with your electrical, your plumbing, as well as your HVAC systems later down the road. Having improperly wired electrical in your home is creating a fire hazard that you don't even know about. And if you don't have your plumbing lines installed correctly, you could potentially be setting yourself up for water leaks as well as water damage later down the road as well. Now, if you don't have your HVAC system properly set up, you can be setting yourself up for improper heating as well as cooling, and that can be a major factor when it comes to your monthly utility bills when it comes to electrical. Before we continue with this video, let's have a quick pop quiz to see how much you've been paying attention about the pre-drywall walkthrough. The first person to answer correctly in the comments will get a shout out from me on the channel. True or false? It is required to have a third-party home inspector when you're building a new construction home. Now, as the home buyer, you have to be prepared in order to have an effective walkthrough. So let me share with you some practical tips that you can use for your upcoming pre-drywall construction walkthrough. Tip number 1, make sure that you have your plans readily available at this meeting, and make sure that it's either printed on your phone or on an iPad. There's nothing better than being able to visualize everything that you're being shown in this new home so that you can see they're in the right places and everything matches up to what you have in your floor plans. Tip number 2, bring your phone and take a lot of photos. Everything that you're being shown during this pre-drywall construction is going to be shown to you before another phase takes place, and once that drywall goes up, you won't be able to see the inside of these walls anymore. So make sure that you bring your phone and you'll be able to take a lot of photos and accurately match up everything that you see based off of your design plans. Tip number 3, before you even get to this meeting, make sure you have a checklist. There should be items that you already know that you want to ask questions about when you get to that meeting, and having a checklist makes you more prepared for that meeting so you don't forget anything. Tip number 4, wear some comfortable shoes as well as closed-toed shoes. These construction sites are filled with trash, debris, as well as nails, and you don't want to show up wearing any of your good shoes during this pre-drywall construction walkthrough. Now, as the new homeowner, you should already have questions readily available that you're going to ask at these pre-drywall construction meetings. And I'm going to tell you a couple questions to keep in mind that you should make sure that you're asking at these meetings. Question number 1, are all the outlets as well as switches in the correct place according to the plans? You want to make sure that everything that is in this home is in the right place, so make sure that you're asking that question ahead when you're at these meetings. Question number 2, you want to know if all the piping is properly insulated, especially on the exterior, because when it gets cold here in Las Vegas, our pipes freeze and that makes it harder for water to go through the pipes. So you want to make sure that all your piping is insulated, especially on the exterior of the home. Question number 3, what type of insulation is used in the home? You want to make sure that your home is properly insulated to make sure that it's energy efficient when you're using your HVAC system. Question number 4, while you're going through the pre-drywall walkthrough and you're looking at all the windows and the doors, you want to ask the question if they're being properly sealed, because from an energy efficiency standpoint, if they're not properly sealed, it doesn't matter how high or how low that your temperature is set on your thermostat. If your windows as well as your doors are not properly sealed, you're not going to be retaining the most energy efficiency. And lastly, you want to ask the question that if anything changes after the walkthrough, are you going to be notified? The last thing that you want is for things to change after the walkthrough that you have and no one tells you. So you want to make sure that you verbally get a commitment from the builder that if anything changes, they're going to notify you and your agent. The best piece of advice I can give you for these pre-drywall walkthroughs is to show up on time and don't rush through them. Make sure that you allocate a good amount of time to make sure that you have all your questions asked and answered, and you walk through the home with patience so that you can pick up and notice anything minor or major that might be an issue. Just make sure that you have time set aside because these walkthroughs can take anywhere from an hour to maybe 2 hours. And if you're unsure of anything at these walkthroughs, make sure that you bring a third-party home inspector like I mentioned to you earlier in this video so that you can have a better peace of mind that you have an expert there with you and your agent to make sure that everyone knows what's going on with the home and if everything was done correctly. For more videos about relocating to Las Vegas or Henderson, click on one of the other videos on the screen. I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you on the next one.